Thanks for staying with us here on TVC Breakfast. It's now time for us to look at what the papers are reporting, and I have with me the first story, the first newspaper, which is the Nation newspaper. Veronica, quite interesting developments being reported on the pages of the newspapers this morning. Personal income tax by wealthy Nigerians to hit 25%, says Edun. Rising government revenue, creative policies will fast-track infrastructure development. And yesterday we saw President of Ghana, John Mahama, meeting with the president on ECOWAS engagement with Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. Above the masthead, presidency, Obasanjo's position on Rivers emergency hypocritical. Ex-president lacks democratic credential. I guess this in response to the president's criticism of the position, taking his own position as regards the suspension of the governor of Rivers State following the state of emergency declaration. Of course, everyone has been criticizing that decision, be those that were once in government that also declared a state of emergency. All of them are coming out now. All of them are coming out now to speak. Of course, it is something one would expect because it has become normal for us to see former presidents, criticize what the current administration is doing. But it's their opinion, and they have the freedom to speak. And so, for me, it's neither here nor there. You will just say what you want to say. But I just have to say something. Let it not be heard that I did not say. Let it not be heard that I did not say anything. I probably sees it differently. When you're in power, there's something you see, some things you see. When you're out of it, your position determines how you see. So right now he is out of power and he's seeing things differently as against when he was in power and he felt, oh, this was how he could have done things, plus his advisors who are also telling him perhaps we should do things in different ways. So right now he's not in power and he's seeing it differently from what the current administration... Just like the former head of state and his predecessor, Ibrahim Babangida, who said, I could have, done it differently, the declaration of the June 12 annulment. Well, Bagudu Adelabu Mern Ajimobi's daughter, sad story there. Southeast Senator protests rejection of motion to honor Nwosu. Let's move to the next newspaper, which is This Nigeria. Senate proposes same-day election to curb rising costs. Expenses surge from 1.5 billion naira in 1999 to 350 billion naira in 2023. Reps advance bill to cap presidential gubernatorial age at 60. There's a mouthful here, where you have 36 states and FCT running general election. We know how much that is going to go, but one of the problems might be security challenge. Why would that be a challenge? So the stretch of the security personnel that will have to be deployed for election. We know how massively we deployed election for off-cycle seasons, for instance. Of course, it's the same number of security personnel that you would deploy from my perspective. All that we have to do is that you have the various, the polling booths having the various pamphlets, if I may use that word, for the different positions. That's all. The same number of security personnel that you have is what you will have, because we already see that being done. When you're having governorship election, you have other elections taking place at the same time for different positions taking place at the same time. So I think it's workable, it's doable if we are looking at cutting costs. Recall that INEC's budget as of 2023 was about 3 billion naira at the time. And so if we are looking at how things that would have increased now that we are planning towards 2027. So if we are looking at alternative ways to be efficient, give us the needed result, and then do it once for all, I think that would be fine. So Veronica, I will try to advise you, if you want to run for governor, you want to run for president, make sure you do that before you get to 60, because you might not be able to get a chance. Are you sure I'm interested in becoming any of those? Who knows? So I don't know whether it's going to work, because it would mean that you're disenfranchising some Nigerians, whether they're 70, 80, 90, 100, and they are interested in running for office. We see that obtaining in the US, for instance. We know how old Trump is, and go to UK. Well, this has come under criticism, and even the PDP is saying that the reps should focus on more serious issues like corruption and all of it. It's a serious issue. No, but
For me, I think it's neither here nor there what your age is. Competence can be at any age. If you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, you do not have it. It's not about your age.
That's right.
But it is about the experience you've garnered over the years and that you are able to deliver and you know the right people to work with you at achieving what you want to achieve.
Right, interesting. 44% youth, adults suffer mental condition, health insurance report. Next is Blueprint. 2027, no vacancy as Tinubu's second term in office assured. That's according to Akpabio. Economy stabilizing, that's according to Minister. And President marks 73rd birthday at National Mosque, seeks citizens' continued support. Well, we'll say happy birthday to the Mr. President. So we hope that, or we pray that he is able to continue the gains that we are recording, you know, in returning the economy, you know, back to where he met it, and then, you know, taking it even way further. Now we backed down on Kano Salah Durbar to avoid bloodshed at Do Bayero. Tariff hikes, court to rule in multi-choice FCCPC's dispute May the 8th. I'm actually interested in what the ruling is going to look like. Next is the Punch newspaper. PDP, others knock reps, say bill on president. Governors misplaced. Bill may bar Tinubu Atiku Obi from 2027 poll. CUPP, SDP back candidates competence against age-based bill. Well, if there is not too young to run bill, there should also be not too old to run. Above the masthead, expert laments as crude shortage funds ground 7 refineries, 807 meningitis cases, 74 deaths recorded in 22 states, NCDC. Rivers Elders Group slam Ibas for sacking Fubara's appointees. Parents tackle Ogun School over incision on children's bodies. What's this incision for? That has to be well investigated.
But it is sad that the school will put incision on children without the parents' knowledge. Is that why the children were sent to school? Why are you putting incision? To what end is that? They should be sued, really.
Honestly.
They should be sued.
Honestly.
How dare you touch my child?
It's abuse.
Yes, you don't touch my child. In fact, put an incision on my child without my knowledge. I did not put that incision, and you are doing that.
Just like when you take your child to, you know, your village, and then
they put marks on their face.
They're going to look for my child.
I don't want them to get lost, so you can easily identify them when they are missing.
It is well. Nigerian News Direct is next. Bill to limit presidential governorship candidates to under 60 passes second reading. 73rd birthday. Pray for unity. Healing for our lands. Tinubu tells Nigerians. We are at final stage of getting listed on capital markets. That's according to NNPCL Limited. Well, that it's better late than never. June 12th elections, while I'm against immortalization of Professor Umosu, Senator Oshomole. Tinubu makes 4 fresh appointments in NCDMB Council. Next is the Guardian newspaper. Reps more return to parliamentary system. Age limit for politicians. So if you're talking about parliamentary system, we were there back in the day, and then they're thinking, okay, maybe we should go there. Others are saying, let it just be unicameral, not bicameral. So a lot of conversations are going there. Others are even saying, make it unattractive.
Let's just tell ourselves the truth. Is that really our problem? Is that really our problem?
Well, if you look at the amount of money that goes down to running the National Assembly, you know, 109 senators, 360 House of Reps.
That's a lot.
That's a whole lot. So we're looking at better representation, but how, at what cost? At whose expense?
So is a reduction in the whole process going to ensure we have better representation? Or is that we changing the system going to ensure better representation? We listening to our citizens much more?
That's right.
Does that mean that we'll be able to reflect their ideas and, you know, ensure that the democracy that they want is what we have at the end of it? I think it begins with us as individuals if we want to make change. Democracy begins with us. It begins from your house. It begins from...
I told you, I said you run for governor. You're already campaigning. Well, talking about the Guardian, still on the Guardian, I have not received recall notice from INEC, says Natasha. NBS needs $15 million yearly to achieve data integrity, says World Bank. CISLAC says Rivers Sole Administrator's action threaten democracy. And Southeast governors lobby Tinubu as Senate rejects motion to honor Nwosu. That conversation is still going on. But Lagos has deficit of 30,000 doctors, nurses, other health professionals.
It is sad that we have this Japa syndrome is telling on us, because the majority of persons, there's a particular hospital that I use, and every year I see new faces because others have left.
That's right.
And one of them is my friend. He's in the UK now, and he's working with one of the hospitals there. It's sad we are having this deficit, and this is just Lagos. We know the population of Lagos.
That's right.
How about other states? It is sad that this gap is increasing on a daily basis, and something has to be done as quickly as possible.
That's right.
How do we hold these people back from traveling?
Platform Times is next. How 555 Nigerians burned to death in tanker explosions in 5 years. That's a whole lot of numbers there. Ibadan residents protest as stray bullets from army shooting range hit woman, 15 houses. It has always been a problem, you know, where they do the drill. It's closer, it's just within the community. Is it that the community needs to be relocated, or the place where they do the drill needs to be relocated?
I think it's the drill that has to, the place where the drill has been done, that has to be relocated as it is, if it's endangering the lives of the people within that community. We're talking about ancestral lands. There are people who cannot detach themselves from their ancestral lands, but you just come, do the drill, and move.
That's right.
And so it is something that can be easily moved as against the people themselves, moving from their communities and their ancestral lands, their homes, their businesses, their farmlands, and all of that. So I think that they should start looking at relocating this the drill location.
Right. On the bottom strip, Chinese firms shooting of immigration officer, an attack on Nigeria. What effrontery. You know, what kind of thing would the Chinese say that is, you know, after that he has to shoot an immigration officer, someone who represents Nigeria, even a national of a country.
He's wearing the uniform.
I don't understand.
First of all, the person is a human being.
Right.
Why would you shoot him? And if he is on duty, did he pose a danger to you that you decided to defend yourself by shooting? Whatever it is, I think that investigations need to be carried out to get to the root of the matter. But he has to face the full wrath of the law. Although I do not know the state of the immigration officer as it is, but you can only wish him a quick recovery at the end of the day. But then something has to be done. I'm also concerned about this number of tanker explosion in 5 years, the people that got burned. I think that we need to do something quickly, drastically, as state governments, federal government, whatever level, to addressing this menace once for all.
That's right.
At some point in Lagos, we saw that, I think it was Governor Fashola then that did some things, ensure that that level of this explosion wasn't as much at the time.
And they also need to think
there are laws. Funny enough, there are laws, but implementation is becoming a challenge.
It is. It is okay. Well, Weekend Hope is next. Health Minister's startling revelation. 15,000 doctors left Nigeria in 5 years. 50% of drugs in Nigeria is fake. People are after our lives. As UNODC reveals, 267,000 die yearly in sub-Saharan Africa. ODIR's disburses 42 million naira land use charge, radio TV license revenues to local government chairman. Pasuma, Thai currency, settle rift in Mecca. Okay, a good place to...
If you want your prayers answered.
yes, that's one of the things in Hajj. For people who go to Hajj, you do not keep malice. Everyone has to be on the same page. But if you're keeping malice, and
your
then
prayers will not be answered.
You just go there to play. Features that danger Nigerian woman faced during home childbirth. That's cause for concern. Nigerians and COS nightmares in the UK. And above the masthead, 25-year-old takes own life over hardship. You know, we just read a story, I mean, a headline that says several youths, you know, being affected by mental health. It's
sad. The guy had been posting on X about, you know, so many things, and a lot of persons didn't see the signs, and then he took his life. Not everybody has the capacity to manage the things they are going through, and then what are the support systems you have to help you through. It's sad. It's really sad, because at this age, what you should be looking at is how to go to school, ensure you get equipped educationally and in every way But unfortunately, I guess his background did not give him that opportunity, and he felt life was, the whole pressure was too much for him to carry, and he decided to take his life.
Yeah, because of our time, this story is very interesting. Accommodation nightmare, how Shylock landlords, agents flees prospective tenants. Something really has to be done.
We need to have a conversation around this someday.
Honestly.
Because it's become cutthroat. I mean, the prices these landlords and the agents just put across, thinking that people pick monies on the road. But they are telling you to build your house.
And the way they increase the rents yearly, you'll be asking yourself, does this house move from one place to the other? Do you add tire to it when you say, price of fuel and everything has gone up, and that's the reason I'm increasing? It's a whole lot of crazy things happening in the country. Best case, talking about Sport and Life, which is the last paper. Best Besiktas versus Galatasaray. Osimhen in contention to play. Medical board to make final decision. Forest rival Man United for Lookman. And Fernandez in frame for March prize. I do not know what story interests you here, Veronica, as we costume on this segment.
Well, our time is up, but Besiktas versus Galatasaray, Osimhen in contention to play and all of that. Medical board to make final decision.
That's right.
Well, he's hot cake and...
well, let him finish the
Let him
job
finish
for
his,
us,
whatever I see.
Yeah,
I wish him the best, and I hope he makes the right decision.
Most definitely. Well, with that, it's a wrap on the newspaper segment. Over to you now, Veronica.